and welcome back for a brand new round of box office predictions. Just in case you are not part of the Patreon campaign or you maybe didn't watch that I am not okay with this review that I just posted, the reason why the video looks like this this week and maybe next, to be honest, is because over the weekend I went hiking and I slipped and I hurt my knee. I actually did just go to the doctor. I went to the orthopedist today, and the final word on this thing is it is microfractures and a bone contusion. So thankfully that's something that doesn't require surgery or any kind of treatment like that. Instead, it's just about, keeping off of it and being careful, which means me not going up and down my loft stairs to my set all the time. I'm gonna see how it feels, though. I'm probably gonna be like this for the next couple of days, but we'll see what happens after I get back from C2E2. Maybe I'll go up there and get back to it, and maybe I'll feel great. We're gonna find out. Right now, though, let's get to these box office predictions, kicking it off, of course, with the Fantasy Movie League recap. Last week, we had something like 70 people in the predictions with Perri Leigh get that perfect lineup. This week we had none, but this name you're seeing on the screen right now, MK59352 Cineplex, this individual was the high score. So congratulations to you after all those winners last week. It was pared down to just you, so job well done. Let's roll into what happened with my top 5, where I wound up going 3 for 5. And for a minute, I thought I was only going 1 for 5. But then when the estimates changed to actuals, it wound up giving me a 3 for 5. Kicking it off with Sonic the Hedgehog, it did wind up topping The Call of the Wild with $26.2 million. But then how about Call of the Wild there? It is a little tough to get super excited about that when the movie came in with a reported production budget of $135 million. But still, clearly, that $24.8 million start that it had was well above what I thought it'd make for weekend 1. Number 3 did go to Birds of Prey, which dropped 60% and made another $6.8 million. Then it was actually Bad Boys for Life at 4 with a solid hold of 50% and another $5.84 million. And then just so close behind, it was Brahms the Boy 2, which kicked off its run with $5.82 million. All right, let's get into the new crop of movies now, or actually there's just one of them. It's only The Invisible Man hitting theaters nationwide this weekend as a new release. The rest of these spots are going to box office veterans, beginning with my pick for number 5. It's Birds of Prey, and really the only reason Birds of Prey is still hanging on to a spot in the top 5 is because there hasn't been all that much competition lately. And when I look at it, last weekend, that was a big 60% drop when it was only weekend 3 of the movie's run. So that's not very encouraging. And even if I do want to bring that percent change down, let's say to 55%, that only means the movie is going to make a grand total of $3 million for its 4th weekend in theaters. That is not the hottest number there, but you know what? With so little competition around right now, that should be good enough for it to score the number 5 spot. Moving on to number 4, this is where I have Bad Boys for Life. I can't believe this one is still in my top 5, let alone coming in at number 4 right now. It's rolling into its 7th weekend of release, and it is probably gonna lose more theaters, but I still feel like there's a good chance that last weekend's dip of 50% for this one could come down, maybe all the way down to 40%, and that would mean it's gonna take the number 4 spot with $3.5 million. Now here's where I might lose out on the rankings, because I think Sonic the Hedgehog and The Call of the Wild are going to be very close together, but I'm actually going to go ahead and give the 3 spot to Sonic. With this one, I'm actually going to go back to a comp that I had brought up earlier on in Sonic's run, and it's the Lego Batman movie, and I'm specifically looking at the weekend after President's Day weekend. When I go to that for the Lego Batman movie, it wound up making $19 million after taking a 41% drop. So if I look at the percent change trend that Lego Batman experienced its next weekend, that percent change came down a little. That 41% drop came down to 39%. So let's say I want to play a similar game with Sonic here and bring down the 55% hit it took last weekend. I am going to do that, but I also have to keep in mind that using this comparison here, Sonic is still earlier on in its run, so I kind of want to bring that number down a whole lot, maybe to something like 45%, and if I did that, Sonic would come in with just about $15 million this weekend. And now, of course, that makes my number 2 pick this time around The Call of the Wild, and I mean, what do I even make of this one now? I've completely changed my thought process on this one, and the comp that I like for this is actually the movie Peter Rabbit. So both of these movies, they were February releases, both got those A- cinema scores, and both of them opened up with a roughly $25 million opening weekend total. If Call of the Wild follows the Peter Rabbit path, it could see a super low drop this week, and maybe as low as 30%, even though I am not going that low. I'm a little afraid to do that, but I will give it a 35% dip, and if that's what happens, it could be making another $16 million this weekend. And now it is time for the big one, my number one. You know what it is. It's The Invisible Man. I feel like maybe I should have learned my lesson with overestimating certain horror releases that have hit theaters so far in 2020, but this one is just so good, and I have a lot of faith in the word of mouth on this one, so I think I'm gonna go kind of big on this one, and an easy comp for this is actually Get Out, which hit theaters at the same time of year. And remember how big of an opening that one had? $33 million. Part of me is saying don't go that high, but hey, I love the movie. I think a lot of people are gonna be talking about it. Oh, you're getting a Dewey cameo. He is right here because he believes in me, and he believes in a big number for The Invisible Man. Let's go super big. Let's just go for the Get Out number. I want this movie coming in at number one with $33 million. So you know what's happening right now. He's pissed that I'm sitting in a seat right now, and he can't sit in it first. I'm gonna try to scoot over. He's talking to get his seat. He might go for it. We're gonna see what happens as I go through my recap portion of the video. We've got The Invisible Man topping the charts with $33 million, and then I've got The Call of the Wild coming in at number 2 with $16 million. Sonic the Hedgehog taking the 3 spot with $15 million. Then it's Bad Boys for Life hanging on at number 4 with $3.5 million, followed by Birds of Prey rounding out my top 5 with $3 million. Dewey has given up. The seat battle has been won, or at least for now. I'm gonna get up and let him have the throne in a minute. But before I do that, let's get into some Patreon shoutouts because it's a special group here. It is Ian, Steven, Caleb, Seth, Neil, and Kavi. Every single one of these individuals here is a longtime P-Nemi Patreon fan. You are getting the Dewey glare right now, and I just love it. You guys, though, are very special members of the team, and I really do appreciate the longtime support you've given me, you've given Dewey, our wonderful chats, and all of that great stuff. So really, the 6 of you, thank you so much for being here. It's a huge help. Big thanks to everybody out there watching this video, and another thank you to everybody for bearing with me while I am using my phone and sitting downstairs making these videos. I appreciate you sticking with them. Don't forget, tune in next week to see how we all did on our box office predictions.